record.
Computer, hit record. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name's Mike. This is Millennial Poets Workshop under the banner of Millennial Workshop Theater. Why don't we introduce ourselves? Again, my name's Mike, founder, artistic director of Millennial Workshop Theater, and also of various auditions and certain happenings down in Miami semi-recently with Naked Angels. Luis, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Luis Roberto Herrera. I am a South Florida-based playwright and a current MFA playwriting student at the New School in New York.
All right. Natalie, why don't you go?
Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie Cabo, and I am an actor and self-proclaimed writer. Thank you.
Cool. Ilana?
Hi, I'm Ilana. I'm a writer of various things, I guess, mostly plays lately, and that's really all I can say for myself.
Okay. And Melissa?
Hi guys, I'm Melissa. I'm an actress based in Miami. I have dabbled in writing, but really I'm more of a performer. I'm also a teacher of theater, and I am going to be reading published poetry tonight, so I'm a lover of words.
Okay, great. 1 second. Dead air. Oh, we're on that page as well. I guess we can't go on YouTube at the same time as Facebook, probably. All right. Where's the thing? Okay, main thing. All right. So who would like to go first? Preferably someone that has a shorter work would go first.
I have a short first piece.
Go ahead.
Okay.
We could comment later a little bit.
All right, cool, yeah.
Directly after the first one.
Yeah, this piece is called On the Floor.
Okay.
Sometimes I lie on the floor, hand resting on my chest, and I become deaf to the world. The only sound is a heart beating, banging against the walls of my body, and it makes me wonder, makes me think, could they hear it? In the end, what were the final moments of sound ringing through their body while everything else fell silent?
All right. Very good.
Thank you.
I think you what am I trying to say? You kind of delivered that very well. You kind of knew where to pause. That's kind of what I got from it. What about anyone else? Short comments?
I thought it was relatable. I mean, how many of us lay down and listen to our heart?
Yeah, sure.
I thought it was
and clear as well. It wasn't ambiguous. It was kind of like, oh, that was pretty straightforward, which is good.
I liked how you used the senses. Like a lot of my senses were triggered visually.
That's, yeah.
Probably all that.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Well, who wants to go next?
I've got a Walt Whitman, if anyone's down for that. So
absolutely.
What I did to kind of prep for this, because I've been in teacher mode for so long, I dug into my wonderful people in my life that I love, and I asked for their favorite poems. And this is my dad's. So there you go. So this is The Mystic Trumpeter by Walt Whitman.
Okay.
Hark, some wild trumpeter, some strange musician hovering unseen in air, vibrates capricious tunes tonight. I hear thee, trumpeter, listening alert, I catch thy notes. Now pouring, whirling like a tempest round me, now low, subdued, now in the distance lost. Come nearer, bodiless one. Haply in thee resounds some dead composer. Haply thy pensive life was filled with aspirations high, unformed ideals, waves, oceans musical, chaotically surging, that now ecstatic ghost close to me bending, that cornet echoing, pealing, giving out to no one's ears but mine, but freely gives to mine, that I may thee translate. Blow, trumpeter, free and clear, I follow thee. While at thy liquid prelude, glad, serene, the fretting world, the streets, the noisy hours of day withdraw. A holy calm descends like dew upon me. I walk in cool, refreshing night, the walks of paradise. I scent the grass, the moist air, and the roses. Thy song expands my numbed, embodied spirit. Thou freest, launchest me, floating and basking upon heaven's lake. Blow again, trumpeter, and for my sensuous eyes, bring the old pageants, show the feudal world. What charm thy music works! Thou makest pass before me ladies and cavaliers long dead. Barons are in their castle halls. The troubadours are singing. Armed knights go forth to redress wrongs, some in quest of the Holy Grail. I see the tournament. I see the contestants encased in heavy armored, seated on stately, champing horses. I hear the shouts, the sounds of blows and smiting steel. I see the crusaders' tumultuous armies. Hark! How the cymbals clang, low where the monks walk in advance, bearing the cross on high. Blow again, trumpeter, and for thy theme, take now the enclosing theme of all, the solvent and the setting. Love. That is pulse of all, the sustenance and the pang. The heart of man and woman for all, love. No other theme but love. Knitting, enclosing, all diffusing love. Ah, how the immortal phantoms crowd around me. I see vast alembic ever working. I see and know the flames that heat the world, the glow, the blush, the beating heart of lovers, so blissful, happy some, and some so silent, dark, and nigh to death. Love, that is all the earth to lovers. Love that mocks time and space. Love that is day and night. Love that is sun and moon and stars. Love that is crimson, sumptuous, sick with perfume. No other words but words of love. No other thought but love. Blow again, trumpeter. Conjure war's alarms. Swift to thy spell, a shuddering hum like distant thunder rolls. Low where the armed men hasten, low mid the clouds of dust of the glint of the bayonets. I see the grime-faced cannoneers. I mark the rosy flash amid the smoke. I hear the cracking of the guns. Nor war alone. Thy fearful music song, wild player, brings every sight of fear. The deeds of ruthless brigands, rape and murder. I hear the cries for help. I see ships foundering at sea. I behold on deck and below deck the terrible tableaus. And that was Mr. Walt Whitman.
All right. Wow, a bunch of things I have. First of all, you said you were a teacher. Do you teach currently or?
Yeah, I teach theater to my kiddos who are, I teach senior high school.
In Miami?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, you said in your bio, yeah, you teach in the public school system. I forgot about that. Okay, well, I've never heard Walt Whitman kind of read like that. It was Walt Whitman's never written a play, I don't think, and we don't, or at least I don't think of him as like a writer of dramatic monologues. It was just very, and I wasn't familiar with it, and I'm fairly familiar with Whitman. I don't know if you know, does that poem occur later in The Leaves of Grass when he's an older man, or where does that fall under?
It is Leaves of Grass, and I think it's somewhere middle end. Yeah. No,
Okay.
but I mean, his images are just so strong, and to me, he's just he was so much about the soul and the people and
Yeah.
the lands and everything like that. And he's always he always inspires me. So maybe I was a little bit more passionate than most readers of it, but I just
No,
really
no, I
adore
think that that was how it's supposed to be read. I'm just trying to sort out. Again, I'm kind of a big Whitman fan. I don't think I've heard that poem. I don't think a lot of his poems are very graphic, very erotic. Though
Yeah.
that one was certainly was not. That's kind of what I associate with Whitman, but that wasn't the case
Oh,
with
yeah.
that one. That was more of a pure kind of this is love sort of thing.
Hmm.
Anyone have anything else?
Your passion, palpable.
Yeah.
Thanks. I love him. I mean, it's Whitman, so it's
Yeah.
what can you can't go wrong with Whitman, I think.
Right. Anybody else? No? All right. Well, I might go back to commenting on that later. Anyone wanting to go next or?
I can go.
Okay. All right. Natalie is reading what?
It's a poem I wrote. It's called Indoctrinated.
Okay. Go ahead.
Holy shrine of a man, devout patron of your ungodliness. I whisper prayers of your toxicity, letting the unspoken desires consume my spirit. Let me worship your existence as if it was the only way to eternity. Divinely damned man, I will burn in flames from the sin of my enclosed urges. I want you to consume me. Take me to the pit of your ability. Baptize my fantasy into your reality.
All right. Very good. So can you tell us about how you wrote that or when or?
Yeah, so I read from one of my favorite authors. They wrote a line in one of the poems. It said, "The enormity of my desire disgusts me." And so I was inspired to write this. I also have a religious background.
Hmm.
So it was
Wh-
kind of
which,
like
which writers said the original quote?
Richard Sicken.
Oh, I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's kind of like about putting people on pedestals.
Right. Richard Sicken. All
He
right.
writes a lot about obsession and love and
Yeah, I've just seen his name. I'm not familiar with them, but I guess he probably did win the Pulitzer or something.
yeah, yeah. He went to
Yeah.
Yale. Yeah.
Anyone else? Comments on Natalie's original work? Okay. Well, who would like to go next?
I mean, I guess I can go.
Okay.
Okay,
You
yeah,
had a- Go ahead.
I do write some poetry, but then also, I guess, I think I was told we could read basically whatever, so I decided I would read this essay.
Right.
And the title of this essay is A Liberal and Conservative Land. So, starting now.
All right.
During the lead up to the 2016 election, my political psychology professor asked our class to create virtual maps that showed our predictions of its results. I lit the whole country up a blue, wryly captioning it, "One can only hope." During the preceding months, I had actively campaigned as a fellow for the Florida Democratic Coordinated Campaign, and on election night, drowned my sorrows with a room full of dismayed Democratic comrades. The next morning, I joined a good deal of my liberal arts college peers in donning all black, and my professor awarded me a few extra credit points for providing the least accurate model. Later that year, I wrote an opinion piece for the photography magazine I was interning at, comparing our new president to Hitler. And yet, in March of 2019, I somehow found myself headed to hear Trump speak at the largest gathering of conservatives in the nation. Almost 3 years ago, Oliver, note that this name has been disguised, and I mutually super liked each other on Tinder. And though I was quickly entranced by his obvious intelligence, artistic inclinations, and romantic spirit, I found myself baffled by his political views. Trump's supporters were supposed to be uneducated Midwestern barbarians, not city socialites who recited Macbeth soliloquies at eclectic watering holes and danced to me in Irish jigs. Along with my precarious emotional state at the time and total overwhelm with the expansive New York dating scene, his politics had been one reason I pulled away when things between us first started to get serious. But we remained friends, gradually bonding over similar experiences of social isolation and engaging each other in philosophical debates and literary allusions of increasingly labyrinthine complexity, until finally our friendship tipped over into something more. Still, it is with substantial reservations that I agreed to accompany him and his parents on their yearly trip to the Conservative Political Action Conference, otherwise known as CPAC. Maybe I would learn something, I figured. Know thine enemy, I thought. And I did indeed pick up a few useful tidbits. For example, that it is in fact a bad idea to date Republicans. Oliver and I ended up calling it quits only a month and a half later. Also, when going to behold an important political figure, first make sure you have removed all potential weapons from your person. I've never been one to carry around armament, but Oliver had insisted that I borrow one of his NRA knives for protection. I neglected to take it out of my purse before heading into the conference for a speech by Vice President Mike Pence. Thus, I can now semi-proudly say that that knife was confiscated by the Secret Service. After my assassination attempt failed, and I endured the address, I spent the rest of the day roaming the booths at the convention's central hub. I couldn't help but cringe at the abundance of Make America Great Again hats, a huge extravagant painting of Trump, and a display of toy bricks that attendees could use to build a replica of the wall he wished to erect at our Mexican border. As I wander, I mindlessly pick up buttons bearing seemingly innocuous slogans that masked dangerous ideologies, like I support free speech and gun owners save lives. And there were pamphlets about everything from the crisis in the domestic uranium mining industry to the necessity of saving the American inventor, copies of far-right newspapers like The Torch and the Washington Times. I was somewhat surprised by the diversity of the attendees and the beliefs they represented. There were hordes of young people and plenty of organizations geared towards students and campus activism, African Americans in Blacks for Trump gear. As agnostic from a Jewish family, I was also fascinated by CPAC's substantial Semitic presence in Zionist tent, even attending Shabbat lunch with a group called the Young Jewish Conservatives who happened to have set up camp in our hotel. And I was heartened that many of the Republicans I met were as skeptical as I was of the country's current leadership. The California psychiatrist I ended up seated near remarked that perhaps our president would benefit from some Ritalin and some clonidine. I also encountered women-dominated groups like the pro-life Susan B. Anthony List and Concerned Women for America, and environmentally minded ones like the American Conservation Coalition and CO2 Coalition. I didn't, of course, disagree with every platform I saw posited, but for every noble goal I saw espoused of fighting pornography, supporting Israel, or encouraging clean coal, and a worrisome declaration that marriage should consist only of one man and one woman, or that atmospheric carbon dioxide has beneficial effects. Politics, like morality itself, is seldom black and white, but I was sure as hell staying blue. The next day, I caught only the beginning of Trump's lengthy news-making speech, fidgeting in standing room at the back of a huge auditorium and probably absorbing less than I would have had I watched it on TV. Despite my continual animosity towards him, it was still something of a thrill to finally get the chance to encounter a US president in the flesh, and perhaps I still owed some sort of respect to our commander-in-chief. But though his energy seemed more buffoonish than malicious, Trump's flippancy and erraticism continued to unnerve me. I wondered where the line was between patriotism and passivity, between a merely problematic president and a truly dangerous one, and I wondered how on earth we had elected to the highest office in the land a man whose lack of confidence and sanity meant that these were questions we genuinely had to ask. If only, of course, the story could have ended there. If only Trump's presidency had come and gone as a mere blip of absurdity in an otherwise sound political landscape. Instead, the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and the Trump administration's failure to contain the virus cost us not only any sense of normalcy, but over 200,000 American lives. Instead, we find him now threatening to contest the results of the upcoming election over baseless claims of voter fraud and attempting to appoint a Supreme Court justice who could well erase years of painstaking social progress. Instead, the news has erupted with scandal after scandal, suggesting that our president may be guilty of everything from tax fraud to collusion with Russia. Though the prospect of anyone still voting red seems increasingly insane as Trump's reputation continues to crumble, most recently due to his life-threatening battle with the very virus he spent the last 7 months downplaying, I'm reminded that 4 years ago I thought exactly the same thing. How wonderful the world would be if the only people it held were those in my liberal bubble, valiant artists, activists, and intellectuals who fill my Facebook feed with heartfelt expressions of despair over the possibility of a Republican victory, scathing anti-Trumpian memes, and impassioned pleas that we all registered to vote. But my brief trip to the other side's home base serves to remind me of the vastness of the Red Army's ranks and the seductive danger of its rhetoric. Unfortunately, those who still believe in the Lysol peddling monster at our helm are not rare extremists, but are all around us. I am reminded of this once more when a stranger in Trump 2020 gear burst into our Black Lives Matter protest, brandishing a Blue Lives Matter flag and a gun, by the truck that vividly flashed terrifying slogans like vote pro-life, vote Trump, and vote red or America will be dead outside a primary polling place. Whenever I pass the corner on which I once stood for equal rights, now routinely overtaken by a mob armed with Trump 2020 signs. And a similar sign I spy in the window of my own neighbor, the uncle who proudly wears a MAGA cap, every absent-minded flick through Fox News. In the best of all possible worlds, I will only be a liberal living in a land controlled by conservative power until 2021 rolls around. But I now know better than to trust that the votes of bigots, dimwits, and sycophants will not outnumber those cast by people with a basic sense of human decency, or think that Trump could never challenge the very foundations of American democracy with the support of millions behind him. And while I hope to turn on the news on election night and behold, finally, my map all lit up blue, I still fear that I will instead find myself drowning my sorrows once more in a sea of red. But this time, it isn't too late to take action to prevent this potentially impending travesty. Along with casting our own votes in as timely and as safely a manner as possible, we can make sure that everyone in our social circle has plans to do so as well. Take part in Get Out the Vote initiatives and continue to educate our friends and family members on the importance of selecting the candidate who appears substantially less likely to lead our nation into a dystopian nightmare. Though I, like many of my generation, might have preferred a more progressive candidate, I am heartened by the fact that good old Joe Biden at least seems to have a heart. Unlike some other presidential candidates we know, Joe Biden is not afraid to show his vulnerability, to be seen wearing a mask, to admit to his struggles with stuttering, or to express pride in his son's triumph over substance abuse. While I still dream of the day where I can vote for someone who is not merely liberal, but a genuine challenge to the status quo, I'm also convinced by Biden's empathy and humanity that he will serve our country not merely as lesser of two evils, but good and in of himself. I would be proud to have him as my president and to spend this year's post-election season draped not in black, but a celebratory blue.
All right. Wow. You know, I was a political science major in college many, many years ago, almost 20 years ago. I'm going to be 40 this year, I told a few others. I know I don't look it, but that is the case. And so I could go on and on about that being formerly, and also you mentioned Midwesterners early on. I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in Illinois. And I grew up in Illinois, where it was about 7 or 8 hours away from Chicago. So a lot of Illinois is a red state. So I grew up in a very conservative small town, and you were referring to, you know, the people you meet. First of all, where was this CPAC meeting located?
CPAC took place like just out of Washington, D.C.
Oh, it was outside of Washington. Okay. And I really related with that because I know everyone I grew up with, and every parent, everyone who I grew up with their parents, and they were, you know, these are the people I learned from. And of course, now I live in the liberal bubble, and I've always been a liberal before that, but I really could empathize with your meetings with certain conservatives and finding out, oh, they're not all one thing. Well, I'll stop for right now, but does anyone else have, I really liked it, the whole, and I don't even think, I think most of it was an essay, but there were parts of it that were almost like a dramatic sort of monologue. I don't know. So maybe it's more, maybe part of it is an essay, part of it not. So anyone else have comments or?
Yeah, it was definitely like I could totally see this in some sort of opinion ed kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I do think it's great that you went to see the other side. And like, I think that, I mean, I also am a liberal, and I'm, you know, very passionate about what I believe in 100%. But, but I do think like I have friends and family who are, you know, they're, first of all, they're Republican. I think there's a difference between like Republican and then like voting for Trump, because I also have a lot of friends that are Republican that are not voting for Trump.
Yeah.
But it's just like we have to remember, like, it's not just one thing. We can't demonize, or we can't like make everyone, you know, as much as we can fight passionately for what we believe in, it would be a mistake to label everybody the same way, in my opinion. You know, and like that's where maybe I also uh like I also sometimes have this discussion with some of my liberal friends and stuff. Even though I'm incredibly passionate, I fight to the death. I get, not to the death, but like I fight to the to the end for what I believe in. But then there's that, then there's the person, there's someone's mom, someone's dad, someone's brother, someone's sister. And at least for me, being an artist, we always have to go back to the human point of it. And as much as I feel like liberals are fighting for the human aspect, it's hard, because it's like, you know, someone I love, it could be their mom or their dad, and people are saying these things about them, and they're trying to, it's complicated. But I did really enjoy your piece, and I love that you went to see the other side, because I get so emotional. I don't know if I could, like, I'm an easily baited person, so I just kind of like have to shut down. But I thought it was great. And also, can I go just really fast? I kind of like, I didn't have the words after Nats, but it kind of slowly like came to me. It's just, I have been there. I have been consumed by passion and love for someone that I probably shouldn't, and I've kept it secret, but I've wanted them to, even if they were bad for me. Like, it was just like, I've been there, and it's just, so bravo to both of you. And just, Nats came later to me.
Okay, great. Anyone else? We could circle back to that, certainly. I got more comments on that, but we'll move ahead. I guess everyone's gone except me. Now, keep in mind, I haven't written poetry in quite a while, and I wasn't trained dramatically. So just keep that in mind, those two things. But I'll try to do my best with the poem I've written. I've actually written two of them, but we'll do the most important one first. Okay. I have a touch of gray in my beard on all sides. Pretty soon, there will be more gray on all sides of it. It will frame my face nicely. But at what point does the gray get to be too much gray? And I can't turn back the clock and make it less gray. It'll just keep getting worse and worse. And I suppose my joints might get hurt as well. Something will happen to my liver. Or I won't be able to move to Los Angeles or New York, Richmond, Virginia, because my meds will stop coming. And then all that bad DNA will be exposed. And that's something I can't change. But then it's just like everything else. graying my beard and turning 40. But what if my mind becomes too calm and I'm left with no imagination? Has that already started to happen? Has it already completed itself? It's funny, I don't feel too calm, but is that even possible? I still feel like I have imagination, but what do you compare it to? I can't remember the level of imagination I had when I was a kid. Are there even any levels? What really exists and now how do we measure it? We measure it by gray hairs and calm. That's it. Thank you. Is my sound still on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a silence where I was like, I can't hear anyone. Can they hear me? Okay.
No.
All right.
I mean, I thought it was interesting. It was very reflective, obviously. And I kind of really enjoy reflective pieces because it reveals a very fearful truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely a part of humanity that sometimes people don't really care to listen to, read about, or write about.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's what I took from it and what I enjoyed within it.
Yeah, and like I mean, as we're growing older, and I think it's just like I think some of the younger ones in the room might not know it yet, but like you there are literally changes that happen internally, externally, and it's just it is a very, I mean, I think that's why we do sometimes reflect a lot on it, because it's just uh there's a lot of stuff, and we don't really talk about it, so I thought I could relate to that.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think that you did a good job at evoking emotion.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I'm in my 20s, but it made me feel fearful for the future. So
Well, I don't know if it was intended to do that. I kind of feel better than I've been since probably I was like 15. It's only been since I've gotten into my late 30s that it just seemed like, well, I won't go into it, but from when I was about 16 to about 36, I was pretty depressed. And
Oh,
I guess,
20s are the worst. 20s are the worst. Like I think that it's just you're just
yeah, I think around 29, 30. I don't know if you're there yet, but yeah, 29, 30, 31, 32. That was the worst for me.
hmm.
You know, but no, through therapy and through creating art and getting involved in theater, and I really feel a lot better now. But I guess the imagery was kind of stark, and it was kind of like, I guess it is. I guess the younger you are, the more frightening it sounds. I'm sure someone who's 14 be like, "Damn, he's 40.
yeah.
He's got hair in his beard. That's insane." So,
Yeah, I didn't find the fearful part of it. I understood the reflective, like this
and
is
maybe there is a fearful part in it. I don't know, but yeah. Go ahead.
I think reflection is always fearful, but that's just me.
Right. Okay.
Um,
Well,
I can go next. Does anyone
well,
have
yeah. I
like,
was going to say we've circled the group once. Who would like to go next? You can, Natalie.
Yeah, now we can go.
okay, Louis, go.
Me? Oh, okay, sure. Okay.
Oh, Luis is going to go.
I guess
All right.
I'm gonna go. Okay. Okay. This piece is called "Sometimes." I sometimes think, what if I need you? You, that smirk that butterflies my stomach, the smell that gives me a home, those eyes that light my way. You. I sometimes wonder how much must I hate you? But really, how much you definitely hate me. Me. The coy game of distance I play to create a want, a need, the lack of motivation, the blame throwing, then the following, the pining, yelping like a puppy, a neglected puppy, crying for attention, for the permission to run around. Me. I sometimes think that living is hard, but dying is worse. The guilt people throw. How dare you think about that? The selfishness of those who care. Think about how it will affect everyone else. I sometimes think, what? What are we doing? We, the deluded, the fractured, the hysterical. What are we doing, and why does it fucking matter? And why can't I hold you, feel you, smell you, be you? Why do you run, hate, ignore, use? Why do I abuse, lie, fight? I sometimes think, doesn't fucking matter. Can I lie with you?
All right.
I loved the rhythm of it very much.
Yeah.
It felt like it was great.
It seems like when one is younger, those sorts of, I don't know what you would call it, affairs or people that are in your life, but maybe not in your life, but you're, that thing kind of happens so often when we're young that it seems like it'll never stop. And it kind of gets rarer as, maybe this is just me talking, but it gets a little rarer as you get older. And I don't know, that's just my thought of it. But certainly I experienced that quite often in the past. Anybody else?
I think it was very human and expressed very well.
Yeah, I really got in his head there, or he really got in my head, or whatever it was. He was kind of like, it's all right there.
Yeah, very relatable.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Well, what do we have left? Who has any on the shorter side pieces that they would like to read?
I have a really short side one, and it's the wonderful, incredible Dorothy Parker, and it's kind of in this vein of what y'all are doing, which again, I have to say, like, I love words, and I'm hiding behind the words of brilliant human beings, and you guys are like pouring your words out, and so beautiful to be a part of it. So this is a very short song by Dorothy Parker. Once, when I was young and true, someone left me sad, broke my brittle heart in two, and that is very bad. Love is for unlucky folk. Love is but a curse. Once there was a heart I broke, and that, I think, is worse.
All right. Very good. That was short.
A very short song.
Yeah. No, that's fine though. I'm not familiar with Dorothy Parker. I mean, I've heard of her, and I know she was.
Oh, she's amazing.
I think mainly a humorist, but and I knew she did write poetry. But anyway, go ahead.
Like she did. She's very witty. Like she's very witty and very dark and very.
Which she was known for, yeah.
Yeah. But she's just like, so I said every poem is like from someone I love and adore. Like one of my really good friends from college. She did a one-woman show on Dorothy Parker. And so whenever I read Dorothy Parker, I think of her. But I think this is short and to the point. And I would agree. I think breaking someone's heart is worse than having your heart broken. And you don't really realize that until you're the heartbreaker. You think there's nothing worse than having your heart broken. And then there is. So.
Yeah. Anybody else? All right, that was Dorothy Parker. I got to look her up. Anybody want to go next, or?
I have a short one I can read.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
It's called Trypophobia.
Yeah.
Today I died. The person I thought I was murdered. She is nowhere to be found. Maybe she never existed. Maybe she was just an illusion of who I wanted to be. The real me has holes. She carries pain that seeps through every crevice of her body. Patch it up becomes the new intention for living. Fix it. Fix it so you finally know who you are. Fix it, but don't be disappointed when you find that even after repair, you're still broken.
All right. That goes along with the other ones. These are very revealing. Very good. Okay. Anybody comments?
I mean, it's so honest and so like open and vulnerable. So
Yeah. All right. And again, we could circle back to some of these. So you've gone twice, Natalie. Melissa, you've gone twice, I think, right?
mm-hmm.
Did anyone have any other shorter pieces before? I believe it's Melissa has a lengthy piece, or am I getting you mixed up with someone else? You have the longer one, right?
Yeah, but I
Okay.
mean, like that's only if we want to go there. It's like long. It's like it's my
No,
friend.
well, I'm timing it out to where we can have it at the end. But before that, does anyone have any shorter pieces that they would like to also present?
I mean,
That one there.
I was, okay, fine.
We'll do this.
No, I was gonna just say I have a.
Okay, let's do Luis and let's do Natalie again. All right, Luis.
Great.
Is it Luis or Luis? Either one.
Yeah, either one.
All right,
Your
why don't you
preference.
go ahead and then we'll give Natalie.
Okay.
Okay.
This so this piece I first originally wrote it as a prose stream of consciousness poem.
Right.
But then from that I literally from this little piece I wrote a play.
Okay.
And this happens towards the end of the play, but it was the first thing I wrote about it, and it was on its own first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very it's a little out there, but okay. Not out. You'll see. Okay, it has no title. Quiet. So quiet. I was driving where we driving. Get out. I feel like everything is closed or closing and there is no sound, but the same thing keeps happening again and again and again, but can't hear it. No sound. Then happy birthday. I'll be there in a sec, in a minute soon. What is happy? Can't have, I don't know if I want the baby. Is a baby okay? Is a baby happy? Is happy a baby? What's that sound? Is the baby, do you feel that? Do you hear that? She won't be happy. I have to tell her, no, happy birthday. We don't, I don't, he doesn't love. I need something, someone, something. None of this makes, what is that? What is this? Why is this? Let me out. I can't get out. I don't know why. When I'm trying, nothing moves. It won't budge. Please let me come around. Can you not? Everyone can be sometimes lost is all then I think, what am I doing? Funny. Remember that, not who. She wouldn't understand. Moving, you're moving. Why are you? It meant nothing. Something didn't do anything. Wanted to do. Moving. Why moving? Falling apart. All try and listen. Why is magic? Remember magic words mean words. Why she hates. I don't hate. Promise. Can you promise? Go, just go. Happiness, deja vu. It all feels mad. I didn't mean this is all that Miles can't be all he wants. Is this is every nothing, nothing, everything, everything, nothing, shaking. What is, do you feel that, hear that? Nothing? Was nothing something? Quiet. Can't think. Where?
Wow. You know, that kind of, I really like that type of, I don't know what it's called. It's, I think some of, if you're familiar with Sam Shepard, he has written some things where it's a monologue, yet it's a dialogue, yet it's a poem. And it also came to mind, he's very fragmented, like David Mamet or Samuel Beckett or Harold Pinter. I really like that sort of thing. Also, James Joyce came to mind a little bit. So I really, I've tried to write pieces like that where it's very fragmented and very, it's a dialogue, but it's a monologue. It's very, I really like that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like the words. I was definitely the with you, and I was left emotional, and it was effective, like the not finishing certain sentences and the what is this, and like it was just it left you kind of like, oh, well, what's going on? Like the audience was kind of with you, going through that lurching back and forth. So I was definitely with you.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Natalie, you have another one?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. This one is called That Night. Okay. You vile, wicked, evil animal. I want to slaughter your kind, slice you up into bite-sized, bloody pieces, slap the remains on a plate, and sink my teeth into the sweet, savory taste of your obliteration. I want to chew you out of my existence, spit you out of my mind. But instead, I'm forced to digest what you did to me that night and spend the rest of my life flushing you out of my memory.
All right, very good. That brought to my mind Sylvia Plath a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah. The images of,
Oh my God, the flushing you out. That's just
yeah,
oh.
the images of love, but then violent, almost bodily functions a little bit. That's what it brought to my mind. Okay, well, before we get to the lengthy piece, does anyone have anything at all else? Ilana?
Read one super short one.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually wrote this last night while I was at a vigil for Breonna Taylor. So just it's a
Oh, wow. Okay.
weird one. It's not even about her. It's like about, I don't know what it's about, but
Okay.
I assume the flower is fake until I smell it. How strange such a fragile thing should live. Its comforting scent, the only sense in this world that I can't forgive. With a breath so scarce, I question my own lungs, what folly of the fates to spare me. I, the privileged, doomed to be my only mortal enemy.
Hmm.
All right.
I just love how on topic you are right now. You know, I think
Yeah.
that's so important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think those are important. Everything you've read today is just really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it integrates so well with, I don't know if you guys read my post about, these things are related, politics and drama and visual art and music and comedy, and all these things are almost the same things. They're all being creative and being human and empathizing, ideally. Yeah, so I really like all of it. It's just all coming together for me right now.
Well, I just like it's so funny because I just had a lesson with my kids about ancient Greek civilization. We're going into like storytelling, and it's just basically, I guess it's all communication. Like it's what we're all doing right now is like communicating in different forms, but that's what ultimately storytelling is.
That's what kind of comes to mind too. When we read about the Greeks, if we have, we think about not only great drama, but great political speeches and great essays and great poetry. They all just kind of, it just all came together for them back then. That's, yeah, that always comes to my mind as well. All right. Is everyone good?
Yes.
Does anyone want to take a break? Or I don't have to, but does anyone? We're all good?
Yes.
Okay, Melissa, you have a piece it's going to run about 15 minutes.
Yeah, like anywhere from 13 to 15. I'll try to,
Okay. That's because
so
yeah.
okay, this is my very good friend. I started a theater company with him a while back called White Rose Miami, and he is a wonderful writer. He wrote Orquídea, or My Home on the Sun, and his name is Ivan Lopez. So
Okay.
here we go. Oh, geez. You scared me. I am sorry. I didn't mean to react so scared. I wasn't expecting to see anyone. Hello. Why are you all staring at me? Okay. You're quiet, but you seem like nice people. Why are you here? God, I'm sorry. Oh, that sounded so territorial. I'm sorry. I know the sun isn't mine. I don't know. I never expected to see anyone else up here. Are you adjusting to the heat? You know, it took me a while, but eventually I adapted. Now I just love the heat. In fact, when I'm back on Earth and it's winter, I get so cranky. I mean, the heat makes me feel so energized. Oh, God, why am I still talking? Sorry. Okay. I have to be honest, this is kind of creeping me out just a little bit. I mean, not you. You guys seem so nice. But I don't know, you're not talking, and it's making me nervous, and I feel like you're expecting something from me. And I wish I could give it to you, but I really don't know what that something is. So I'd show you around, but this is pretty much it. The sun, just a big ball of fire. I actually, it's probably more complicated than that, but the sun doesn't mind if I oversimplify it. I hope you don't mind, that is. Okay, really? I don't know what you're expecting me to say. I'm kind of boring. There's nothing really interesting about me. I don't watch movies or read or go out even. I like being alone. Not that I'm kicking you out or anything. No, I can be around people. I'm just used to like a blending into the background a little more, not being stared at. My name is Orquídea. I know that's probably impossible for most of you to pronounce. I love my name. But when I was younger, I wished my parents had named me something more normal, like Jane. Or if they really wanted to name me after a flower, Rose would have been nice. I mean, my name always becomes Orquídea or Orquídea or my favorite, Orca. That name does wonders on a little girl's self-esteem. But it's okay. I learned to love my name because I love flowers and it sounds pretty in Spanish, the way it's meant to be said. And people don't really use my name anymore. So, I just kind of made peace with it. I'm Cuban, well, Cuban American. My parents came over when my mom was 7 months pregnant. And so I was born in Miami. We didn't stay there long though. Dad was kind of having a hard time finding work. And so he moved the family to Kentucky. I'm not sure why Kentucky exactly. My dad was a factory worker, and I'm not sure why he couldn't find a job somewhere a little less gringo. I mean, I have a feeling there's more to that story, actually. whenever I ask questions about why they left Cuba or why we lived in Kentucky, things always got awkward and weird. They just answer with a cryptic, that's the way it happened. I don't know. Anyways, Kentucky's where I grew up and where I've lived my whole life. I had a great childhood. I would stay home with my abuela Aba. Oh, yeah, I didn't tell you. I'm sorry. I'm like all over the place. My dad's mom came over from Cuba when I was like 2, I think. When she moved in with us, that meant my mom could start working. So I would just stay home with my abuela Aba and we would listen to her old records and go for walks and make puzzles and cook. Well, when I say cook, I mean I would watch her cook. It wasn't until I went to school that I realized I was different. Nobody at school was like me. They didn't eat arroz y frijoles. They didn't listen to Betty More. They didn't have abuela abas at home. I guess that's where I got used to living in 2 different worlds, like now. Only instead of Havana, now it's the sun. Because yeah, I've never actually been to Havana, but I feel like I know it in a weird way. You might even say I know it more than I do Kentucky. In my mind, our little apartment was like a portal to Havana. Because even though my parents and Abuela Aba's bodies were in Kentucky, I mean, their minds were always in Havana. And I loved Havana. Oh my God. I'm sorry to be boring you. Why are you still listening to me? You can leave. Honestly, don't be embarrassed. I will not be offended. Here, like I'm gonna shut my eyes and close my eyes. That way you guys won't feel awkward just leaving me. You're still here. Yay. So yeah, I spent a lot of time up here on the sun. My life on Earth is super simple. I work in a big copy and fax place in Lexington. When companies have big copy jobs, they send them to us. And so I copy stuff for like 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Then I come home and I usually close my eyes and find myself here. Sometimes I even feel like I'm part of the sun. Or actually, sometimes I feel like I am the sun. And my entire story just melts away, just like a giant ball of fire. I wish I could just melt Orquídea away. God, I really didn't mean that to sound so tragic. I mean, I hope that's not how it came across. Sometimes things don't make sense down there. I mean, I look at people everywhere I go, the grocery store, getting gas, and everyone looks so unhappy. And I walk among them and I'm like, am I that unhappy too? But I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not unhappy. But I can't really say I'm happy either. I don't know. I guess I don't worry about happy or unhappy too much. Like the sun isn't happy or unhappy. What is happy anyway? I wish I could just stay up here. There isn't anything down there I'd miss. I mean, Abuela Aba's gone. Oh, did I tell you? I don't think so. My parents, they died in a car accident when I was 8. It was just Abuela Aba and I at the funeral. She cried a lot, but I didn't. I missed them and I was sad, but when it happened, I felt so disconnected. Like, this is gonna sound very weird, but like, I just wondered if they actually ever existed or if I had just imagined them. I don't know, I might be making that up. 8 was a long time ago, and honestly, that's a weird time in a girl's life, you know? But I do remember feeling like I had to take care of Abuela Aba, and like if I cried, she'd feel like she had to stop crying and take care of me. But yeah, then it was just the 2 of us. I would do everything that had to do with the outside world since she didn't speak any English, and she would cook for me and tell me stories. She passed away like 4 years ago. And I cried a lot. I was mostly scared that I couldn't do alone. But then I realized I could. I could do alone. And like, I started closing my eyes. And one day, I just found myself here. At first, I was scared and I opened my eyes and I was back home again. But slowly, you see, the thing is, okay, I'm not supposed to copy and state from home, but one day at work, there was this pamphlet about meditation. And I don't usually read the stuff I copy, but there was this pretty girl on the first page and she looked so peaceful. Anyways, I made an extra copy and I snuck it out with me. Oh God, please don't tell my boss. So I just started shutting my eyes and disconnected, and it was so easy for me. Like I find myself doing hours and hours of disconnecting and meditating, and it was addicting. Like it's all I wanted to do. And then poof, here I was. And I really liked it here. I felt really special because I was the only one who had discovered it. It felt like home. My home and the sun, and that was cool. I mean, I know this is all happening in my mind, but it feels so real. You feel so real. You know, I think this feels more real than when I'm back on Earth. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like myself. I don't know what drives me back. I want to stay here. Actually, I lied. Sorry, I do know what drives me back, I think, but no, it's silly. Okay, fine. Please don't judge me, okay? Her name is Stacy. It's so silly, and not for the reason you think. I've made peace with who I am, but it's silly because she probably has no idea that she is the only reason I go back to Earth. I'm just the nice girl at work, the one with the exotic name. Okay, yeah, I like women, and she's this girl at work that says hi to me every day and always asks how I'm doing and pronounces my name the way it's supposed to be pronounced. Sure, with an accent, but I like how it sounds. And she's so beautiful. She's got this beautiful soul. Yeah, I know it's stupid. I just got that from polite office conversation, but I just know it. I'm sure. Not that anything would happen between us. I mean, she has a boyfriend. She doesn't like girls. But, you know, I see her and she looks at me and she smiles and I feel happy. Yeah. So I go back to Earth for a smile. I don't know. And yeah, I've thought about going out and maybe trying to meet other women, but it just seems so boring to me. And besides, it's just not that important. I brought a girl home a few times. I was 12, Sophia. She was really smart and really pretty. She couldn't pronounce my name, but yeah, she tried, and that was sweet. Anyways, Abuela Aba started getting really nervous, and she wouldn't let us close the bedroom door, and she kept asking if Sophia was coming over. Well, no, actually not asking, more like saying, Sophia's not coming over, right? I don't know how she knew. She knew. I wasn't doing anything that would give it away. But one night, Sophia came over without telling me anything. And after she left, Abuela Aba came into the room and we had a very awkward conversation. No, not really a conversation, really. She did all the talking. But she said it was okay to have friends that were girls, but that Jesus thought it was wrong for anything else to happen. It was obvious what she was talking about, even though she couldn't really say it. And I didn't want to have that conversation any more than she did. So yeah, Sophia stopped coming over. I hope you're not judging Abuela Aba. Yeah, I know it's okay and there's nothing wrong with me now. And yeah, I know that the real Jesus doesn't have a problem with me. I mean, the guy forgave the people who crucified him. You really think he's gonna hold a grudge against me for loving a girl? I know he just loves, but Abuela Aba really thought she was doing what was best for me. She was afraid and she loved me and she didn't want to see me burning in hell. It makes no difference that it's not true because it was true for her. And I didn't want to add any more fear to what she already had. And honestly, I mean, I mean it when I say that I'm okay with that. I don't mind being alone. Because see, look, right over there, you see that tiny spot? like a grain of sand, that's Earth. And it's just so funny when you look at it from here. So small in a giant, infinite space. It makes all those wants and sufferings and problems seem so trivial. And I know that someday, whether I want to or not, I'll just keep melting. And I'll forget all about Abuela Abba and Havana and Stacy and Sophia and Orquídea, and I'll just melt into the sun. And really, what can be better than that? A star that just gives light and life and needs nothing in return. That's who I want to be. But I guess I'll just have to make do with these brief glimpses for now. Okay, I gotta go. My shift starts in an hour. Bye. End.
Well,
Wow.
so your friend, is he still with us? Is he?
Yes, and he's
Okay, I wasn't sure.
yeah.
Um,
No, I.
And he's a playwright, or?
He's a playwright. He's an actor. He's like just a very creative human being, and
Yeah.
I mean, working him and I just connect. Like it's like whenever he writes something, I immediately connect to it. Like it's just like his writing, and I think any actor would, because it's just so I don't know. So for me, like his words are just so human, so lovely, so full of fear, so full of light. Um, and so I just can't help but get passionate when I read his work because I just love him and love it so much.
Wow. Well, if he's interested, you could put him in contact with us. I'd love to hear more from him.
Yeah, he has a lot of things up his sleeve, so I'll definitely tell him about this.
Yeah, certainly. The first part of it and then the last part of it was there was a sketch on a show called Mr. Show many years ago in the 90s where the guy was given a audition. He was doing a monologue, and then he would just go, okay, and then they would say, okay, done. And he goes, no, you interrupted me, I got to do it all over again. So he starts over. It's like, really, guys, you're just going to shut me out? I'm just going to leave now. And they would interrupt him. He goes, damn it, I'm going to do it again. I just was reminded of that, but obviously that was meant to be much more dramatic, but I think it was supposed to be humorous as well. But it was the only thing I could compare it to. It's like, oh, that was really real. It was like, is she done? Is this her talking, or is it the character? Or, I love that part.
Yeah, it's cool.
Anybody else?
I think that was such a great read, Mel.
Yeah, that was the other thing. You guys are such talented actors as well as writers and as well as everything else. It's just, wow, fantastic. Again, it's a relatively new thing for me to be around people that studied. Did you majored in drama as well in college, or?
Yeah.
See, it's just still a new thing for me after 4 or 5 years going, wow, they really know their stuff,
That's right. You were political science, right?
Yeah. Long time ago in the Midwest, come down here, get involved in theater. It's like, wow.
Yeah, you give actors something to read. I mean, we're gonna have fun with it. Like,
That was my original idea, was like, I have something actors want, and that's a script or a role. And then once the actor has the role, we have something that people want, which is actors reading or memorizing roles. And this is what theater is. And that was my original idea, is like, just get it started with, I wrote something myself the first time. Here, I wrote this thing. I got 4 or 5 people together. Let's read it. Okay, let's go live with it the next week. Something else, something someone else has written. And by the way, if you know anybody that knows anyone else who are writers, for every one writer, for every 10 actors I meet one writer. Or we're all writers here, but I really would like to be put in contact with some writers that you guys may know.
Are you looking just Miami, or does it
Well, no, anywhere in the country, because originally I thought Luis was in New York, but he's back down here. But yeah, anywhere where they can just hook up with us on Zoom. Yeah, just anybody. Yeah. Well, 9:06. All right. Anyone else have comments on anything we've seen so far? Anything we've experienced or moved us so far?
Just that I get nervous about commenting on things when I
Yeah.
things, but just everyone was awesome, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very proud of this one. Proud of all of you. I'm proud of I can't be proud of myself a little bit, because I'm the one who kind of pieced together the people. I'm just proud of just this whole thing, and all of you guys as well.
I mean, I just want to I know I've said this several times before, and then one time,
it's fine.
but again, that it's so brave to put your words out there, and I just have a lot of respect for all of you who put your own original work out there today. So
yeah. All right. Well, let's stop recording here for now.